Okay, and welcome. This is Chris. Welcome back to Moonrunner City. Today, we're going to be doing commentary to 2000's Gone in 60 Seconds, starring Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie, directed by Dominic Sena. There's a whole bunch of other guys and stars in this one. Giovanni Ribisi, Angelina Jolie, we already said that. Scott Caan, you might know him from what were those? The Ocean's 11 movies. He's like one of the brothers. He's brothers with him and Casey Affleck play brothers. James Duvall, Will Patton, Delroy Lindo plays the cop who's kind of a pain in the ass. Timothy Olyphant. I'm always going to get that name wrong, so sorry, Timmy. And sorry to the listeners. Robert Duvall. Let's see. What else? Well, Vinnie Jones is in there. This is like one of his maybe second roles. Maybe his first American role. Because I think before this he was just in Guy Ritchie's Lock, Stock, and what was that? Snatch. Slamming people's heads in the door and whatnot. Good stuff. Good stuff. We like a good head door slam. Okay, after that we got a lot of other people in there, but I just wanted to give the cast its due because it's a big cast and everybody's kind of doing their thing. And even though Nicolas Cage is the lead and he's doing Nicolas Cage things, and he's at peak Nicolas Cage right here. I mean, this is after The Rock, Con Air, Face Off. I mean, he is just doing it with the action movies. Him and Jerry Bruckheimer are just doing it. I mean, they're teamed up like Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, just attached at the hip. Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio for the last 20 years. Anyway, the list goes on and on. You know what I mean. Just one of those creator duos that were just really at their peak at this time back in the 2000s. So let's go back here. So what we're going to do here with this commentary is I'm going to be playing the movie and then doing just commentary with it. And you guys can watch and follow along, or you could just listen and enjoy your day at work or whatever have you. Unfortunately, you probably might hear me clicking a little bit. I'll try not to go get click happy and start searching on things. I got some tabs open, and we'll just try to like give you some general information while we're watching the movie. I'll try not to click away, but apologies in advance. I just have my laptop in front of me, and just in case I want to pull up anything, like I said, you might hear some clicking of the trackpad. So, again, apologies. So yeah, right now I'm just watching the trailer to Gone in 60 Seconds. Good trailer, actually. The 60-second trailer. It just like kind of counts down from 0 to 60. We kind of just see like the first scene of the movie with Giovanni Ribisi. Man, I'm gonna get good at these names. Giovanni Ribisi is stealing cars, and yeah, they time it to 60 seconds. None of the car stealing scenes in this movie take 60 seconds. It's all just they take way longer than 60 seconds, but it's okay. What are you gonna do? All right, so I'm just queuing up the Blu-ray here. That's what I'm gonna watch this on. I'm gonna watch this on the Blu-ray. You guys can watch it on what have you. I didn't see this playing on any of the streaming platforms that I have. But let me just, I'm starting to queue this up. I should have probably gotten this queued up before we started, but you know. Anywho, okay, so that's ready for me, and I'm still watching the trailer here, and pretty good trailer. All the information's in there about what the movie's about. Pretty basic plot: steal cars, 2 days, gotta get some money back or your brother back. They don't really say in this. But yeah, we're queued up. You guys can queue up. We are at 0, and if you guys want to follow along, just hit the play button or the space bar right now. Okay, so we got Touchstone Pictures rolling through. We're going, and right away we're getting some good old 2000s, just like techno music, but good EDM, good electronic dance music. I don't know who it'll show us who did the music here, but I believe it's somebody who is known for putting together a lot of like club music-y type of tracks for commercials and what have you. Really good, like CGI heavy, not CGI heavy, but this really innovative intro scene here we got here where the camera like speeds up and slows down, and we get this really quick zoom and snap zooms into things, and it's kind of like we're just kind of panning along just some random belongings here, just trying to give us like a feel of the culture that this character's in and a little bit of his background. He's an older brother, he's got a younger brother, parents maybe not in the picture, or are they? Yeah, they look like they're there. Oh yeah, that's right, his mom is in this. That's right. So yeah, dad's not really in the picture in this one. It's like the mom, and then so Nicolas Cage is kind of like father figure and kind of helping raising the young one. Again, really cool intro scene here with the title scene. Really cool title scene here with just like these fast camera tracks, really up close on things. The clock in the beginning was CG. I'm not sure if any of these close-ups are any CG. The camera movement definitely has some CG help in there, but definitely cool for the time. I think it still holds up pretty well. We already getting a feel for like the colors we're going to be seeing in this, like the color palette, the greens and the orange and the reds. Shot in Los Angeles. So yeah, we get a lot of that good Los Angeles golden hour moments. Dominic Sena, he's his director. I think before this, let's go to Dominic Sena's thing here. He was a music director. So I was talking before. This is the scene where Giovanni Ribisi and his pals go and steal some Porsches, and this is kind of like how the original trailer starts. Kind of like starts off with taking most of this scene and showing us most of this, which is a good way to start the trailer and a good way to start the movie. Right up front, it's the stuff that we've seen. We're not waiting for it. It's for a scene that we've already seen most of for like the middle of the movie. Just get rid of it. Just in and out, bang bang. Not the most special part of the film. Actually, probably like the least inventive stolen car in the movie. Okay, so Dominic Sena, we got here. Oh yeah, okay. So before this, he was in California with a K, with David Duchovny and Brad Pitt, and what's her face from Natural Born Killers, Juliette Lewis. Yeah, Juliette Lewis. Excuse me. Juliette Lewis, where her and Brad Pitt are psycho people, and they tag along with David Duchovny and Téa Leoni, I think, also. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna go clicking away. I'll spare you guys. But she's in it, and her and David Duchovny take these two psychopaths, and trouble ensues. So that's California. And then after the California, Dominic Sena does Gone in 60 Seconds. Right after that, he goes into Swordfish with Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and John Travolta, Don Cheadle, and a bunch of other people. Big cast on that one. Not as big as a hit as Gone in 60 Seconds. And then after that, he does Whiteout with Cate Blanchett. And then I think maybe even Season of the Witch. Yes, Season of the Witch. And he joins Nicolas Cage again for that one. So yeah, not a lot of bangers. Almost, not really a lot at all. I don't remember Whiteout. Swordfish was alright, but not the best. Halle Berry's in there, looking like Halle Berry in her prime. I'll just say that. Hugh Jackman as well. Looking as Hugh Jackman as ever. John Travolta, I can't say so much for him. He's not looking as John Travolta-ly as he could. And then you got Don Cheadle, who's always good playing the cop. And yeah, that's Swordfish. So anyway, back to Gone in 60 Seconds here. Because what's going on is a little car chase. Giovanni Ribisi is just messing everything up. And so his little, let me throw a brick through the window to steal this car, that'll be a good idea move. Turns out not to be such a good idea. And the cops come. And so now they all got to scram. And so at this part in the movie, Giovanni Ribisi and his crew are all like kind of intermixed with the bad guy, the main bad guy of the movie. And what's his name? Anyway, we'll get to his name soon. Raymond Calitri. Okay, so they're hooked up with Raymond Calitri, doing some bad stuff, and they get busted, and so now they're in this pickle with Raymond Calitri. And guess who's on their tail? Hard-ass cop Delroy Lindo, Detective Ronald Kesselback, and his partner, Detective Drykoff. I never even knew that's what his name was. Drykoff. Yeah, I don't think they ever refer to his name in this movie. He's just Timothy Olyphant. We'll just call him Timmy. There's too many ths in that guy's name, so sorry. Raymond Calitri, played by Christopher Eccleston. Good actor. Anywho, so at this point in the movie, Giovanni Ribisi and his crew, they're all in the middle of, doing the heist for Raymond, getting like the 60 or 50 cars for him. Not sure how many they say they already are up to at this point, but they have quite a bit, and they get caught, and so the whole plan goes to shit. They all get away, but Mr. Kesselbeck is on their tail. So then here we go. We get a nice intro with Nicolas Cage where he's like giving a pep talk, and is being led to believe like he's like talking to like a crew to like go do something, go do another job. And then, the camera turns around and he's just talking to a bunch of kids ready to do some go-karts, which is fun. I like that. It keeps the movie has a really good tone, and like just not too serious, not too heavy. It knows what it is, and it just kind of does it very, very well. Very, very just, it's kind of tight that way, in that it's got like this nice emotional core of the brothers and their relationship with each other, and then their loyalty to their crew and their friends, and the friends' loyalty to them. Like even this guy, so Will Patton plays Atlee Jackson. He's kind of sides with the antagonist in this one, and he kind of has to watch Memphis Reigns, because he's going to be the one recruiting him to do the job, because he knows him from the past. So they have history together, but in this, Will Patton is kind of bound to play by the rules set by Calitri. He's kind of like his henchman, sort of. He's kind of watching Kip Reigns do the thing, and then when he gets in trouble, he's kind of got to watch him get sold down the river. And Will Patton plays this role pretty good, because he's got a responsibility to his boss, but he's also, again, he's got a responsibility and a loyalty to his buddies, and I think this movie plays with that like pretty well. That the dynamic of these roles that these characters and that people have, and brothers and friends, and co-workers, because even though they're stealing cars, they are a crew that are working together. So let's see. Yeah, so they're just kind of like chatting away here and setting up. Again, nice, a good beat where we're getting kind of the why Nicolas Cage is gonna do this. Haven't seen his brother in a long time. Brother needs his help, and Nicolas Cage is reluctant because he's out of the game. He's out of the life. He's turning it around. He's doing the go-karts. But Will Patton's back, and he's like, "You're coming back in, son. Your brother's in trouble. You gotta go get him." So yeah, and Nicolas Cage obliged, and him and Will Patton go off to go see his brother, and we get the introduction and go. Okay, so we get introduced to Raymond Calitri now, played by, most famously played by Christopher Eccleston, who now I should know this, but is he a Doctor Who guy? Yeah, he's a Doctor Who guy. And yeah, Doctor Who, Shallow Grave, a couple other things. Really big for being Doctor Who. Don't know if he's the Doctor. Sorry. Never got into Doctor Who. But yeah, so he's our villain here. And I like how they give him like this little quirk in his character, that he likes to build things made out of wood. Like he's got this wood fetish, which is kind of interesting. It kind of plays well with um, the whole car culture and how people are obsessed with cars. Nicolas Cage and his buddies are real gearheads apparently, and you know they're obsessed, and they have like this big love and affinity for cars, and Kalitri shares that sentiment. At least that's what he says. He's trying to get down to Nicolas Cage's level here and talk to him like a businessman, but he's an evil businessman. He's like, I got your kid brother. I'm gonna kill his ass. Nicolas Cage plays it pretty well, where he's playing somebody who's not that crazy intimidating. You don't think he's not in here about to like just John Wick everybody, but he's not standing down to this guy. The guy asks him if he's an asshole, and Nicolas Cage goes, "Yeah, you look like an asshole." He's not backing down to any of this guy's wants. He's just like, "I want my kid brother. Here's the money. Let's stop playing games. Come on, I've been doing this for a long time." And Kalitri's like, "Well, I'm not playing any games. I make coffins." So he's got to oblige. Oh, not only do I make coffins, but I put people in cars in handcuffs, and I have this junkyard, and I'm going to squash your brother. So that's the deal. Giovanni Ribisi's waking up like, oh man, I'm in trouble. And so here the brothers are united. They're kind of estranged, but that's his kid brother, and he's here to help. And he does try to go a little John Wick here. He grabs somebody's gun, puts the gun in the gangster's face. He's not backing down. He plays it really, really cool here. But like I was saying, he plays it so that he's not this crazy badass. He's not backing down, but you could tell that he's this guy who, like, his back is against the wall. And Raymond Calitri's got his number, and he knows it. And he's got to back down. He's got to do what he's best at. He's not a gangster. He's a car thief. He lives in that world, but he's not, a mob boss. And so he has to kind of know his role and kind of do the thing. And they got 72 hours to steal the 50 cars. And so there's only like maybe like 2-3 scenes here that we get like a little downtime. The first one being where Will Patton shows up and tells him he's got to go save his kid brother. And then you get this little part here, but it's necessary. You need it to know what these characters mean to each other. And these are the 3 probably most important characters in the movie. Obviously the 2 brothers, and Will Patton plays like the bridge between them, and he also plays the bridge between them and the gangsters. And he's got a nice little character arc, and we'll kind of get there as the movie goes along. So Giovanni Ribisi plays this pretty well too, because he's also kind of coming up at this time in the 2000s, and he's almost in a lot of stuff. Yeah, almost at the point where you might be getting sick of him. And they tried to push him as like a leading man, and he's not really a leading man. And so he's in this, and this is kind of perfect for him to be like the pain in the ass, bad sheep kid brother. It's a little bit on the nose for him, but he does it well, and he's done it plenty of times, I think, in a lot of other roles. This guy's been in everything, and been in everything for a long time. Here we have Timothy Olyphant. There we go. I'm going to get that name right. Delroy Lindo. What? Okay, so the character's named Kesselbeck and Drykoff, shaking people down, Law and Order style, at the dry docks, or just getting people while they're working, telling them what it is, telling them, you know what, you don't talk, we're gonna take you down in a station, scumbag. And yeah, this is real good, typical cop stuff. And then we get a scene here. Oh, I forgot about this. We get a scene here with the mom, Grace Zabriskie, who plays Helen Raines. She's the mom to Memphis and Kip, and she knows what's up. I like how nobody in this film is stupid. Um, it's funny and quirky in the way that the characters play it. Um, and the tone is not like that crazy serious. Um, but yeah, everybody's playing it straight, and everybody's not like playing it like a dummy, just for laughs, just to fit the tone of the movie. You know, this they don't have to say a joke every 5 minutes in order to, you know, make you remember that the movie is funny or you're supposed to be having a good time. They kind of let these like little moments hang and breathe and kind of wash over you so that later on, you know, some of the moments make sense. And we'll get there. Like I said, I won't spoil it. Also, if you haven't seen this movie and this is the first time you're watching it and you're watching it with me, bravo. So yeah, we get Memphis coming in contacts with his buddies, the cops, and they telling him, "We know what's up, buddy. You're back in town. Stop with the BS." Delroy Lindo plays this really strange. He's got a weird way he plays this because he's a real hard ass, and that's kind of it. Um, you think like there's a part coming up here with um Detective Drykoff, played by Timothy Oliphant. They he tells a joke and Castleback is not having it, and he kind of tells him like, "Fuck off." And it's one of those things where you're like, "Oh wow, this guy's really." He doesn't even mess around when he's pretending to be messing around. See, like here, so he's talking to Raines, and then Timothy kind of interjects with like a little joke, and Castleback is like, "Nah, bro, this is my deal. Why are you even talking?" He's like really mad at him that he even like tried to even talk. It's just like kind of weird their relationship in this. They like almost don't have chemistry with each other, and I don't know if like that's the way they wanted to play it, or if like the two actors in real life, that's just kind of how it went down. Like they just didn't have the chemistry, and maybe they played it off that it like played off that a little bit too, and so that's why they decided to do these little parts here. But it comes off it's a little awkward, but so yeah, like here, like Timothy does this like really bro, like that's gonna suck, like real dick cop, and then Castleback's like, "Man, what are you doing? I don't even like you." And Timothy's just like, "Man, I'm just trying here. I was just playing off of you." Shit. So this is where we get an semblance of the crew, and starting off, Kip goes to basically like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the group. Robert Duvall, the great Robert Duvall. So again, Robert Duvall, like Kip, he's out of the game. Doesn't want anything to do with it. He's turned over a new leaf. Made well on his promise. And Kip's here and he's like, oh boy, here we go again. There's no reason why he's here other than a bad reason. But he's like, it's good to see you. Let's reminisce. And yeah, they Memphis plays along, and this is nice because you could see them getting along, but then Memphis is like kind of, let's cut to the chase. And then get a little like stuff about them being gearheads because this movie has to remind you that it's a car movie. Even though they're in a garage. There are moments here where you might forget that this movie's about stealing cars. But there are other moments where it'll bang you over the head with we're stealing cars. Now the original was back in 19. Yes, there was an original, an OG, Gone in 60 Seconds, which is basically like the same plot. From what I heard, It's not like he's got to go save his brother or anything like that, but main character is doing it for gangster or what have you, and he's got to steal cars, 60 cars or something like that, 50 cars in 5 days, I think, in that movie. Where in this movie they cut it down to 3 days, which is so just ludicrous. And I'm surprised that the movie doesn't lose track and just kind of slip on the timing here. Obviously, none of this would happen in 3 days. None of what's going on would happen in 3 days. I mean, maybe he would get to talk to like 3 people in those 3 days, but somehow we get all these guys. We get them all together, and they get all the stuff they need, and all the keys, and all the info, but they talk about it, and like a lot of it, they there's not too many holes, other than there's no way in hell that this would happen in 3 days. But they try to cover oh yeah, we got to do this in the nighttime. We don't have time for that, so we got to do this. So they play with like how ridiculous the time frame is of how fast they got to do this. But here we get introduced to Chi McBride, who plays Donnie. And then so yeah, we get the semblance of the crew here. We get Avengers Assemble here, or the Seven Samurai, whatever. You know the movies. They get the team together. We go through them. See what everybody's doing. Some people we can't get a hold of. Armageddon does this. If you guys remember that. So yeah, very typical. Let's set the scene together. Let's set the team together scene. And it's kind of short, because the movie's got to move. We don't have time to go into a lot of backstory and show a lot of stuff. These scenes sometimes seem like a little like, okay, there's no way all these people were at their like regular day jobs. Well, I guess the point is they're showing them just like kind of pick up and leave. So okay, movie. I think it's Angelina Jolie's character who stays after her job and then comes by later. But yeah, they get all these people together. They get all lined up, and he's going to get the last one. Who, surprise, you think it's going to be a dude, but it's actually Angelina Jolie with blonde hair and like weird like dreads for some reason. Like I don't know what's going on with her hair in this movie, but it is not cool. She's rocking the blonde hair at this point in this time. I mean, at this time, Angelina Jolie is just she's the flavor of the month this time, and she's kind of playing, the she just I think she's coming off some Golden Globe wins. She's aiming for that Academy Award win. She's not quite Angelina Jolie with Brad Pitt saving babies in the Congo yet, but she's like Angelina Jolie like becoming a household name. This is like her and Billy Bob Thornton doing it in the limos phase. But yeah, so we have her with this weird hairdo, and then not for nothing, Nicolas Cage has the blonde hair as well, but the blonde hair on her, and then the weird like dreadlocks, braids. I don't know what's happening there, but it also kind of goes away and then comes back. It's like wavy and then curly, and then at this point it's at its most ridiculous. This scene here. I, I mean, I really. She's at the point in her career where she probably came and they just let her do it because that's how famous and how big this is. Like she was coming up, and I could see her just being like, "I want to wear this," and then being like, "All right, sure, we're not paying for two of these though." And so she messes it up, and then that's why her wigs. Look at this guy. Even that guy's got like the weird blonde hair. What's going on? And then she just drinks his drink. Like that's kind of fucked up. Ah, this is great right here. This is like the most 90s. This is where we have like just like a random this random other gangster pop up, and it just happens to be like current hip hop rap star. Insert Master P, who I don't remember Master P ever really being an actor in a lot of movies, but he's here and he's punching Nicolas Cage a couple times. This feels like they were trying to get like Ja Rule or like DMX, and like they weren't around. Like they were doing like that Steven Seagal movie. Because this was a time around the 2000 kids back in the day. Yeah, there was a lot of this kind of thing where just like a random pop star would pop in the scene somehow. And, at least this way, this kind of sets up Vinnie Jones coming in as the Sphinx. And it sets him up as being, this enforcer who comes in and just busts heads. He comes in and he helps out Reigns. So that's all good. It kind of sets up Vinny's character as like this don't mess with me kind of character. And we get a little action beat there. A little something explodes for some reason. So that's cool. Speaking of exploding, this is where we have more exploding emotional beats, some brother on brother crime. This is another one of those down parts where they're just yapping about mom and their past, and I think Giovanni Ribisi's character here, Kip, is kind of like tired of living in Memphis's shadow, and Memphis is just like, I didn't do it for the thrill of it. I was trying to just help you out. Sorry, I'm just fixing my mic. So yeah, they're just kind of having a little moment here together. While they're having that moment, let's talk about when this was released. So yeah, this comes out in June of 2009. I mean 2000. Sorry, comes out June 9th of 2000. And yeah, so it comes out. Let's see what comes out. Big Mama's House comes out the week before. Big Mama's House is the comedy with Martin Lawrence. And the same week, we don't have a lot. There's a lot of, yeah. June, Shaft comes out with what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. Titan A. G.I. Joe the movie gets re-released. Chicken Run. Let's see. Ooh, The Patriot comes out. Is that The Patriot with yes it is. So yeah, we get The Patriot with Mel Gibson coming out in June of that year, 2000. The Perfect Storm, George Clooney and Marky Mark Wahlberg, where it's like Marky Mark and George Clooney versus The Wave. And so that's June. So that's the summer of June there. Before that, we get in May we had Mission Impossible. So that's like that set the summer off. Mission Impossible, and let's see if there was another big one there. Dinosaur, Battlefield Earth, but not the one. Is that the one with? Yeah. So yeah, Battlefield Earth comes out this year too. The John Travolta bomb. That comes out like a month before this. Michael Jordan to IMAX comes out a month before this. Oh, and then we have Gladiator. Yeah, Gladiator kicks off that summer in May. Raked in $451 million. Gone in 60 Seconds. Here, let's see here. What did this get? What we get here? Gone in 60 Seconds got like $250 million there. Got 232 million. Not bad. Not bad. I don't think it broke any records itself. Like I don't think it was like in the top 5 box office of that year. But it made some nice scratch. So yeah, there you go. Alright, so we're back here. No more brotherly love. The gang is all here. So we got the old crew, the new crew. They're all meeting up. Giovanni Ribisi is like, hey man, y'all old guys can't do this alone. Let's join forces and let's do this. I got some guys here. I got discount Dave Chappelle. You got discount Bernie Mac. Let's make things happen. No disrespect to those actors, but yeah, I mean, this dude with the glasses is for sure discount Dave Chappelle. And that guy, Freb, not Fred, Freb, is actually James Duval. He's the one that just showed. He's the one that gets the pizzas. Later on, he'll be getting the keys out of the dog poop. That's his thing. So see what I mean? Even he has like a little. He even does something. Everybody kind of ends up doing something here. So even Freb, will spoil his character arc. He ends up fishing some keys out of the dog poop. But he does something. He does something pretty important, and he gets the job done. He does something that nobody else does, and he kind of does it because he's kind of the guy that doesn't do anything. Um, and so yeah, he gets his moment to shine. Here we go. We got Scott Conn being the most Scott Conn. Good banter here between all these characters. It's hard to do these scenes where the crew's gotta like come up with the plan and they're all staring at a thing, and yeah, these scenes are hard because you kind of don't want to leave people out. You want everybody to have a moment to talk, but you also want each person's dialogue to kind of mean something, and it's kind of got to drive the scene somewhere. It can't just be um because those scenes where they're just like yapping about whatever, those are really that's when those scenes are done really bad. When they just start like talk like Fast and Furious does that sometimes with the Ludacris and what's his name, Tyson Gibson. Is that his name? You know the guy. The those two guys, they'll go at it and they'll just like kind of start talking about nonsense, and it kind of really like just drags the scene down. Once or twice it's okay because it's establishing that those guys are always kind of like bickering at each other and it's fun. But again, it's like kind of like that thing of like we're having a scene here and then we have to insert, the two jokey guys. So that's just like kind of meh. But they do it here. They kind of pull it off. They talk about the names that they're gonna give the how they're gonna give the names to the cars to throw off the cops, and they talk about like let's get to work. And so this is where we get like the stakeout, which is good scene. Always good to have a good stakeout scene in a high. So yeah, we got them planning the heist. Already 42 minutes in, and we're moving at a pretty good clip here. The film, we're already basically pretty deep into like the second act. Cops are on the tail. Our characters are already looking for cars. They're already having like a little like last minute like this is where everything's gonna end up at the end. This is how it's gonna go down, hopefully. And then we get Angelina Jolie showing up with a trench coat, Matrix style, with the stupid hair. The hair is just, it's just bad. Will Patton's got the blonde hair too. Everybody's got like that goldy blonde hair. I'm surprised they didn't give Castleback a little blonde, little like brown glow in his beard. So yeah, we got Scott Conn getting the keys for the expensive cars. And again, yeah, everybody's kind of doing their thing here. Everybody kind of lends a hand. The cops are not stupid. Again, like the cops are not stupid. They're not playing like stupid characters, like the stupid like Barney Fife cops. They're tracking down all the clues, and he's not playing around. He's right on Nicolas Cage's tail. He's just ready for him, getting ready for him to slip up. He's got like a real Ahab, Ahab in the Whale kind of thing going with his character of Castleback. So yeah, then they're talking about the names for the cars here, which I like. This is how we get what they're calling the Mustang, the unicorn, calling it Eleanor. And they call them ladies, which is cool. And we get some good old. This whole movie is like got like a pretty standard 2000 soundtrack with just like kind of those like really clubby kind of like a lounge bar club music. It's not really like, it's like kind of like not really house music, but you know, Fatboy Slim and Moby and all those kind of guys. These are artists that are well long gone, kids. I mean, maybe you've heard of Moby, and maybe you've heard of some of these songs. But for the most part, it's definitely of its time. And that's all I'll say about the music there, because it's not very interesting. It brings back some feels, but I mean, like I said, yeah, it's not very interesting. It's not like these are any tracks from any artists that have any relevance now. So that's that. Here we go again. Again, everybody's kind of doing their thing. Nobody's kind of like being a dummy. You know, even the pizza delivery boy guy, Freb. He's got a ridiculous name, but even he does stuff. You know, he's not like fumbling around. You know, I like that about the characters in this movie. It's kind of annoying when you get characters that are just dumb. They just do dumb things, and then those dumb actions just so happen to kind of make the next thing happen in the movie. I really think that's shit. Alien Romulus has a lot of that. So does Alien Covenant, where characters just do dumb things and then whoop, they literally slip on blood and then hit a button, and then that causes like the ship to go into like crash mode, and it's just like, come on, like you couldn't figure that out better. And yeah, that's just annoying. So you don't like, even like I said with Freb, he's kind of like an underdog. He's not the expert car thief of the group, but he's trying, and he has the potential to mess up, and I think he does mess up, but like I said, he's not playing it as a goof. And this is our introduction of the car, the Mustang, the 68 Mustang, 69 Mustang, Shelby GT 500. Sweet looking car. Sweet looking car. Fastback. They definitely did it up for the movie. Put some fender flares on it. Gave us the paint job is sweet. Like the metallic gray, silver. I think it's more like it's what I think the Cybertruck wants to be. I think the wheels could be better though. But yeah, sweet looking car. We get to watch that thing tear it up later on, which is fun. Oh yeah, and then here we go. We got Master P popping back up because This movie's got to like remind you that there's like a real threat going here, and every once in a while something like this will happen. Because the threat of the gangsters in this movie is really kind of like, I think, a weak point for it. They kind of like disappear, and then I guess that's why you have Will Patton's character kind of just hanging around, because he's supposed to like be representing Kalitri, but because he's like boys with them and friends, it doesn't seem like they're in the wrong hands. And so the movie has to like kind of like, it looks like they just add little scenes like this, like where they gotta get chased, shot at, something's gotta get blown up. We gotta see a car crash, we gotta see some squibs, chicken coop get blown up. That's pretty bad. They just shot at a chicken. That's messed up. Here we go with this cinematography with the greens. Yeah, just like a nice little neighborhood chase scene through people's houses. People in LA just leaving their doors unlocked, and you're just able to run through their house. Point Break does that really well. But it has the excuse that it's like the middle of the day, and yeah, he even gets like mauled by the dog, which is fucked up. But anyway, that's Point Break. We'll do that later. Maybe we'll do that. Let me know in the comments what movies you want me to do this to. If you want me to do this, if you want me to cut this up, maybe make it shorter, or if you want to listen to the whole thing, maybe I'll make 2 parts. Maybe I'll make one long part, and maybe I'll cut it up and have something that's a little bit shorter. We'll see. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want me to do. So anyway, back to Gone in 60 Seconds. Again, we got this kind of little weird action beat scene here, this chase scene. Nicolas Cage is doing Nicolas Cage stuff. He's really good in this movie. Like I said, he's got to really walk a fine line between being crazy Nicolas Cage, but then also the straight man. He's supposed to be the straight man. He can't be all crazy. He's got to be the responsible big brother. And so, yeah, he can't be that crazy and goofy. And so, like, those parts where he's got to, like, kind of play character and kind of set people up like he does at the dealership, or he does with this guy. You could see that he's, like, Nicolas Cage is, like, really eating up the scenery and kind of reveling in that opportunity, kind of, like, just play, which is what we see him do a lot of now. He just plays. Where here he's a little bit restrained, almost like his most restrained of this era, of this Nicolas Cage, the Nicolas Cage-assance. Where, because in Face Off, he's just, both him and John Travolta are just off the rails. Con Air, he's kind of going off the rails. I think he's got the hair. The whole movie is just bananas. And The Rock, he's going off a little bit. Michael Bay, I think, kind of let him play. Where in this movie, he's a little tethered. I think Jerry Bruckheimer really held him down, and yeah, I mean, it's a big important movie. Like I said, it's not a tentpole movie, but it definitely was up and competing against, some big movies, and it needed to kind of like stick out amongst those movies. And I don't think it did. Like I said, it didn't do that great. It wasn't gangbusters in the blockbuster. I think it did better on DVD. This is one of those movies that did way better in DVD and rentals. And then on TV, you see this a lot. But it's something that when it came out in the theaters, it just didn't really, it wasn't a banger. And for good reason, too. Like I said, the action is kind of meh. There's not really, like, a lot of action set pieces here. The dialogue, like I said, even though it moves the story along and has a purpose, there's some of it's a little cringy and just, like, kind of its time. Discount Bertie Mac, Chi McBride. He does his best to kind of be jokey. Same thing with Discount Dave Chappelle. He does his best, but all the jokes are a little like kind of just look cringy it's 2000, so it's expected. It's just of its time. Again, it's like the music. It's like the blonde hair. It's just a little like just kind of that was a thing. Okay. So yeah. But again, the good thing about it is that it doesn't seem unnecessary, and it kind of like flows, and it doesn't it's not out of character for the people that are speaking those parts. We don't have Freb being all smart assy and quippy with the cop. He's scared and he's nervous. Scott Conn gets to be the guy who's gonna maybe come with a joke later on with like, I was gonna bonk him. That's in character for that guy. It wouldn't seem right if many of the other guys said that. Even discount Dave Chappelle. So yeah, we get a little tension here. Cop is on to him. Here it seems like we're stalling a little bit. The movie was moving at a pretty good clip, and then, unfortunately, I love how the cop is just walking around, and Scott Conn is just kind of meandering around with a pipe in his hand, just like ominously standing over him in the scene, with just like holding the pipe like a bat, like just ready to bonk him. The cop is just there by himself, no partner, just surrounding himself with known criminals. Puts himself in a car. Yeah, but yeah, it's a movie. What are you gonna do? That part's funny. You buy it, and he looks at him. See, that's what I mean. Like they're being jokey. It's all like ha 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 ha, but for good reason. They're all kind of like trying to play it up for Castleback, so he gets the hell out of there. And he does. Good little scene of tension. The setup of it is kind of bullshit. There's like coke on the floor that he doesn't see. And so they blow it away by revving the engine. I mean, whatever. But it's well done. You need the threat has to be always like kind of there for Memphis and the guys, or else then I think the movie does come to a grinding halt. The movie, I think the filmmakers also know that at this point we're done with like. Sorry, I thought like my recording had just stopped there. So yeah, sorry, the filmmakers like know that we're done with the kind of exposition scenes of what this means to the family, what this means to the brothers, are the brothers gonna get back together, all that's kind of like done with, and so no more talky parts. Everything has got to kind of like just move. And unfortunately, like I said, that this movie's weak point is like the antagonists. Maybe they should have just stayed with like the cop. Maybe like if like Delroy Lindo Castleback was like a dirty cop. But then I think you do need some like somebody has to be the moral compass. But even though Memphis is, this movie's like all about like second chances, and the second chances that they have to make, they have to like kind of like it's all about like doing the wrong thing to do the right thing, making wrongs into right. And in order to make it right, they have to do the wrong thing to do the right thing, if that makes sense. So they have to do all that. Here we got the lowrider scene. And here we go. We got the third act popping off over here. Let's see where we're at here in the scene. We're at 1 hour exactly. And third act is running. We're going to steal some cars. And so yeah, this is where like when the movie this was where like the movie likes to pick up and like really feels itself. These little montage moments. I think Dominic Sena is like really excellent at shooting all this. Yeah, this is like right during the days of CSI and where this kind of like cinematography becomes almost like, again, this kind of stuff was also seems like so routine, but back then this was like really flashy. All these really really cutty, like hyper close up, colorful scenes. A lot of that stuff, like you see that a lot in like the CSI movies and a lot of movies since then. But there's only a few guys like that had this kind of look. Obviously, Tony Scott, Michael Bay, guys like that come to mind. But yeah, Dominic Sena what did come from music videos, and I think was a part of a company with Michael Bay and maybe even David Fincher. I won't go clicking away on you guys now to confirm that, but they were part of a company together and I think that's how they were doing the music videos. But so they really created a look, and that look was definitely pretty influential. You see it, or you saw it a lot, and it probably got played out to where you don't see it anymore. Again, it's one of those things that's of its time. But back then, it was really, really flashy and looked really, really cool. Like even this, like the way they make the chalkboard look, the way the cars are shot, the way just everything's shot, like everything's like a beauty shot, everything's like a trailer shot. All of this probably takes so much time to set up. All the lighting, everything's kind of backlit and neon lit. So, and it's a look that really gets like accentuated in Swordfish, which let me know again in the comments if you want me to do that movie. I do that movie. It's not a 10 out of 10, but it has its moments. Neither is this. I'm not saying this is a 10 out of 10 either, but it's fun, and like I said, it's of its time. Pretty simple. Does a lot of things well. doesn't do a lot wrong. And especially now, a movie like this, like, you kind of welcome something like this. Just kind of your standard, run-of-the-mill heist movie. So, yeah. And yeah, we get a nice little montage of just some stealing some more cars, which I think when this is one of the things that people were a little disappointed in is like when you went to go see this movie, you thought you were gonna get more of this kind of thing of them like just hijacking the cars from different places, and like I said, this is around that time of Ocean's 11, so the heist movie is really in play at this point. So people stealing stuff is just in at this time, and so people, the audience is like really set to like watch, just guys just go and steal cars for an hour. Unfortunately, we don't really get that. We kind of get like this montage. We get a couple montage scenes of stealing cars, and that's kind of it. We get one good chase scene, So I think the movie kind of like leaves you like definitely wanting more. You definitely come into it feeling like it's gonna be a little bit bigger than what you got. And I think that's just because at this, like I said, at this time, Nicolas Cage, Jerry Bruckheimer, they're just in their prime of just big action movies that just like were made some money with very little. These movies are coming out around the time of like Independence Day and Godzilla in 1998. Those movies had big budgets and made big money. And this movie is coming, I don't think, with a very big budget. Definitely not as big as Con Air, I don't think. And it's definitely not as big as The Rock. Yeah, I'd have to go finding that, but for right now, maybe we'll find out later. But yeah, I don't think it had a big budget, and so, it has to do what it can with the money it has. And I think it does a lot with its budget. Like I said, the cinematography is just like I said, this kind of stuff like really was influential and was really different at the time. This kind of stuff was like this hyper glossy look. I mean, what you look at it now and you're like, why is everything so as neon? But back then, it's kind of like we're like, okay, it just looks cool. It was different, And it made scenes like this, like at night, just like look extra cool. I think that's one of those things that all these guys like Michael Bay and Dominic Sena were inspired by guys like Tony Scott and Ridley Scott that really knew how to shoot on neon lights in the nighttime. Okay, so I checked it out, and it looks like this actually did have a bigger budget than Con Air and The Rock, just slightly. But yeah, had a bigger budget. Con Air and The Rock had a budget of $75 million reportedly, and this movie had a budget reportedly of $90 million to $100 million. Now sometimes you gotta like double that or add like at least 75% more of that budget in marketing. So this movie probably costs almost $200 million. And so to get back at the box office, what did we say? $250 million. It broke even made a little bit of money. Like I said, made more of it in the DVD sales. So this is one of those movies that we don't see these type of movies anymore because I think that DVD market is gone. Movies like this, used to be able to make a little scratch in the box office and then make a nice return in DVD sales and in video on demand or pay per view. Getting sold its rights to TBS or what have you. It'd make a good more amount of money off of that, and this movie would be nice and profitable. And a lot of these movies would come out back then, and do well. And I think these movies would also help the studio, make those tentpole movies, those summer blockbusters. Like I said, at the time, Mission Impossible and your Perfect Storms and your Gladiator, those are like your 150 $200 million movies, and those movies can't get made unless the studio has a good amount of scratch, and it can't make that. They have to make these smaller movies. These smaller movies have to make some money for them to make those big movies. And I think that's why we see like this problem where they put out the big movies and they put a lot of money into them, and they're just like failing, and we're just seeing like this hemorrhaging of money, and you could see that it's like hurting the company. And like every time they have like a failure, like Disney, every time they have a Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or what is it called, Captain America 4, every time they have a Snow White, they're just throwing money away, and there's nothing to make it a return on. There's no like little small movies like this for them to be okay if those movies fail, because those movies do fail every once in a while. So you're gonna have a big dud. You try not to, which is why usually they go after existing IPs and sequels and things like that, because they think it's a surefire thing. But it was these movies that really kept the studios going. Shot in LA. There's a lot of talent in the movies as far as like actors go. I'm sure they got all the good car people, all the best pyrotechnic people. These movies like kind of kept the industry kind of chugging along, whereas now it's really getting stagnated because of a couple bad failures in a row, and then you can't make as many blockbusters anymore. You can't make any more big budget movies like that anymore. You have to go abroad to make your movie because it's too expensive to shoot in LA. Thank you, LA people. What's his name? Governor Newsom? That guy? Thank you, Governor. So yeah, it's just all over really too. So yeah, they're just ranting about the state of Hollywood now, because what's going on here is just, again, we got a little bit of downtime with Angelina Jolie and Nicolas Cage trying to flirt with each other. There's not a lot of chemistry there between those two. So I'm glad we don't get a lot of scenes like that. But when we do, it's just a little like, I don't believe those two were in a relationship back in the day. Yeah, maybe if like her now, like her then, and Nicolas Cage back in his like early 90s, maybe those two would work. But at this point, and with Jerry Bruckheimer trying to like maintain some order here, um, you know, their chemistry just, I don't know, it doesn't work. And this scene's weird too. Like they have like this talk about their sexual tension while um this couple just gets it on in front of them in their big ass house with the big ass windows that they leave wide the fuck open. So but so yeah, this is like your standard kind of thing for movies back then in the 90s that started the trail off back in the 2000s where you had to have like, you know, like obligatory like sex scene or romance kind of tension between two characters. um and there it is. Sometimes you get ones like that where it's between two people that just don't really, I don't really see Nicolas Cage as like kind of like a romantic lead. And to be honest, I don't really see Angelina Jolie as a kind of romantic lead. Probably why we never saw her in any kind of romantic comedies. Um, she was kind of like the bad girl, and she did movies like this, and she was Tomb Raider, and a lot of melodramas, and I think a couple period pieces probably. But yeah, she wasn't like Reese Witherspoon. She wasn't doing like romantic comedies. She wasn't doing like those romantic dramas. And it was like a lot of like just her just chewing up the scenery with those ginormous lips of hers. Anyway, see, so you can see her hair is like kind of simple here. I think there's like a couple little braids left in there. This was like before in the, yeah. I mean, maybe they're like it changes. It goes back and forth. And then look at this. They're like with the lights on, just getting it on. And then these two, like, just so horny. Just instead of stealing cars, we're just gonna, suck each other's face for a little while. And yeah, awkward scene to watch with your parents, by the way. This movie's PG-13, so this would be like one of those movies that you would watch with like some family, and then that scene would pop up, and you'd be like, "Oh, great! I'm gonna go get a drink of water now." And here we go again with some more threats from the local gangs. This time we got the essays, and oh man, I can't. The actor's name escapes me, but if you're watching, you know who this actor is. Oh man. Well, anywho, that's one of his first roles. So there we go with Feb finding the keys in the dog poop. So he does his thing. He gets the gang to go away. Finds the keys. Saves the day, kinda. And then we get discount Dave Chappelle doing his thing. This is kind of his little moment to shine here. This is kind of cool, like him doing the distracting while um these guys are like breaking in. They're wearing like the purge masks. Again, like the time with some of this and he just busts out like a Barbie doll, like, and just starts like dancing, playing with it in front of the guy. Like, that's like, this is his last resort of distraction. Is to, like, I'm just gonna pull out a doll, and you're gonna watch me. So yeah. So yeah, there's like scenes like that where like they're able to distract the guy for so long that they're able to cut through the fence, walk up to the cars, steal them, get them out, and then bounce. Um, and the whole time, discount Dave Chappelle is able to distract our man with his tomfoolery. But it's a good scene. It's kind of reminiscent of like a Beverly Hills Cop kind of thing that Eddie Murphy would do. Sorry, a little parched there. So here are our cops. They're not dumb. They're on to our guys. And they know the tricks. And it seems like they're getting along a little bit. Maybe just in real life they're just starting to get along. Because you don't really feel any chemistry between these two guys. It's kind of a weird dynamic. I think that the thing that saves is that Timothy Olyphant is a good actor, and Delroy Lindo's a great actor. It's a 67. I wonder if that's accurate though. You know, they always mess up the years of everything in movies. So here we go. They got 3 hours left, and they got to steal like 20 more cars. Again, the timing of stuff is way off, but whatever. It helps the movie. I think it helps the what we talked about, like that kind of like lack of tension sometimes in the movie, is that you have like that ticking clock. I think if this movie was spread out to the 5 days, you just need more scenes of like gangsters kind of popping up and messing with them. This is something that would make like a good like a 3-part Netflix show. So again, yeah, here we got a little bit of like, we need some danger, so they break into a car, and the kids got some guns, and they should get shot at later on. I thought that happened now. All right, never mind. So yeah, but yeah, so this is when like a lot of this stuff starts happening though. Our characters start stealing cars, and they get into some. The heat is on, as they say, and some mistakes start getting made. These guys get into some trouble here, and they gotta like fucking play DMX. Oh, that's right, the snake. For some reason, people with Humvees leave live pythons in their car, and are these cops? Yeah, these are the cops. See, I even forget who's after them sometimes. Again, like some like there just has like something like just needs to pop up to get the things, get some action. Let's get the Humvee crushing some stuff, because like back then you needed like a Humvee and it needed to run over stuff. Even though that thing probably wouldn't run over shit. It'd make a big mess, but I don't know if it's really gonna do that. Obviously, it's a real stunt, but probably had some help. again, I'm surprised at that this actually was more money than that's a nice car. That's the Jaguar. Problem with a lot of these cars is like we don't see them in action. Like that those two cars there. Um, yeah, they're just kind of like get parked and kind of just ride off. I guess it's just too expensive to kind of buy a Jaguar XJ28 and wreck it. Um, and so hence that's why we only have one big car chase set piece with the Mustang and some cup cars. This is a little chase scene here. It kind of goes nowhere though. We get a cop making a U-turn. They jump over some grass. Cops just instantly shoot at them. Granted, Scott Conn does drive straight at them, but yeah, maybe in the 2000s they'd shoot right at them, but definitely maybe not today. And so their boy gets shot. Which this feels like this again, this is like one of those things that is of its time where just no matter what the movie, if there was just a little bit of danger involved, somebody probably was gonna get shot. Um, yeah, if there was gunplay in a movie, somebody's getting shot, and it's usually like a character that you really don't want to see get shot, that doesn't deserve it, and usually gets shot in the arm and he's okay. So, but yeah, this is that scene. This is that. Guns are bad. Gunplay is bad. See what happens when you mess with the cops, sort of thing. But it does. It's simple and as kind of basic as it is. It's doing something for the story because, again, we're seeing Kip kind of like stick his neck out for his buddy, and it's not about the stealing the cars anymore or the money or anything like that. It's about the family. So I'd like to do a video about this and Fast and Furious because this, if we describe the plot of this, it could be very well one of the first two Fast and Furious movies. In fact, I think this almost works better than the first, like this, maybe the second Fast and Furious movie. The problem is like this needs that sort of like Fast and Furious action. Like I said, there's not a lot happening here. So we only get like these really like action pieces that like just pop up kind of very awkwardly, just almost like they just almost have to. We just have to see somebody punch somebody or get shot at like every 20 minutes, because it's a Jerry Bruckheimer action movie and it's summertime and that's what needs to happen. But I think they could have gotten away with it with a little bit more, maybe one more, chase scene. Maybe. Yeah, one more chase scene wouldn't hurt. I could do without the Master P stuff and have a chase scene. But wait no more. We have the Shelby GT driving through the streets. And so here we go. We get the chase scene that you basically wait the whole movie for. And by this part, I think the chase scene is it goes on pretty long, and we get a lot to watch here. A lot of good gags, a lot of good like little tricks that we get to see. Cars going backwards, cars sliding, going through like the tight alleyways, oncoming traffic, all those like good little like action, like car chase action stuff. We get like all of that, and it goes from like from one, like a couple different places to another. Like we get a nice piece here in the city where he's like just hauling ass, and yeah, that Mustang would never make turns like that. I mean, that BMW would eat that thing up. Like I said, that BMW is brand new. Mustang's kind of old. It is the Shelby, but I don't know. I mean, who knows? They never like show that it's like tricked out underneath the hood. But yeah, so yeah, here we go. We got like a nice little. We're driving backwards. We're playing chicken. You know, last minute, you duck into a corner where there's a door that's open. You got BMW versus Mustang, German versus Ford. Classic. So this is kind of fun here. Where I wish they do whip this Mustang around quite a bit, and they do bang it around a bunch. But you could tell they kind of baby it, especially for those wide shots. But I guess they kind of have to. That's the problem with this, with the stealing of these cars too, is that they kind of have to get them back in pristine condition. So you really can't have them have a chase scene and then wreck the car because it's just gonna you know make Kalitri do what he ends up doing at the end of the movie, which is kind of say like, I wanted 50 cars, not 49 and a half. And yeah, so they kind of can't you can't really bang these things up and put them through the ringer, and then they don't have enough we don't have enough time to go steal another car or find another car like that. So um yeah, hence why I guess you only get the one um chase scene here at the end, which is basically what this whole movie's um built around. The first one was, I think, built around just like a one long chase scene um, throughout the movie, and this one was, I guess it tried to do the same, but at the end it was like, well, we can only do this for 20 minutes or 10 minutes, and we needed a movie to fill the rest of the hour 20. So yeah, we get like this more stuff with the car just going crazy fast with the helicopter. It hits the nitrous button because nitrous is cool at this time. And we get a helicopter because driving fast with helicopters is cool too. Again, see, they could have maybe done without that. All that money they spent on driving fast down the LA River with a helicopter, you might have been able to fit in maybe another chase scene. Again, you can't. I guess you just can't mess up one of those cars. Not only for the story's purposes, but also just in general. I guess just for the budget and production. So yeah, that's what we get. This one big action set piece. It could have done with something in the middle. Getting this one is kind of like, like I said, when you leave the movie theater, you kind of wanted a little bit more. Because this scene is fine. The Mustang chase is fine. We'll talk about some of my problems with some of the CG elements later, but it is also early 2000s. So that's one of those things. like I said, the chase does last a little bit. We go through a couple different stages. We get in the city, we get through the LA River, and then we get the scene where I think is coming up where we're driving through like the quarry, and then the final like big stunt jump that they do. Again, if like Dominic Sena just knows how to shoot a street, huh? Because all this just looks fantastic. Just look at it. The smoke, the golden magic hour lighting. Look at that. That all looks like really great. And this sort of like lighting and like, I don't know if there's any like they're doing anything in post with the color here. They might be, but all of this is like kind of new, and it just makes it look so like expensive and so like neat to look at, so appealing to look at. Whereas like even action movies of this day and era, like sometimes they're just shot like very like just bland and kind of just like, oh, okay. A lot of times like second unit would shoot like the action scenes, and so like once we started getting the Jerry Bruckheimers getting the Tony Scotts and the Michael Bays doing this sort of stuff, and really putting the care into the look of things. This is how we get this sort of thing, which ends up really taking over TV. Like I said, you see this a lot. This kind of look a lot in like CSI, and shows like that of that day and age, of that era. This scene's cool, where we got the Mustang kind of just weaving in and out of stuff. I wish they wouldn't have sped up the camera, but it's done. It's a trick that I guess gets done a lot. So, and then here we got this CG like gas can that bounces around that causes a little mayhem. Which some of the CG is a little dodgy, but for the most, because I do think they used a practical like prop that they like threw around on a wire. But some of the other shots, it's a CG canister. Like how like all this is going on and the guy's still swinging the boulder, and then it just so happens to hit that cop car, which definitely would have killed. Definitely would have killed that guy. I like Timothy Olyphant's response to that, and he just goes, "Are you sure? Because you just got hit by, you just went through a wall." It's good. Yeah, see, this goes on for a while. It's a nice long chase scene. Again, I think if we had something a little smaller in the middle of the movie, would have been nice. Okay, and then, but we get up to here, and this is our big set piece. This is like the big stunt of the movie. We have Nicolas Cage, desperate, needs to get over the bridge, sees no way out. Oh wait, there just so happens to be something I can turn into a ramp, and he floors it. I like how he doesn't waste any time. He just kind of like looks down and then boom, he just is like, I'm flooring it. And yeah, it's a little convenient, but it's definitely a cool moment to just have, just have the car go flying. But to have it go flying in CG was a little like disappointing. Not the worst CG. We've seen worse CG. Kind of final crashes like that. If you remember Air Force One at the end where the plane crashes, that's really bad. Even Con Air, when the plane crashes at the end, that's not that great. So as far as like end of the movie, crashes or explosions go, that one is not too bad for being CG. Like I said, this is in 2000. They were gonna add a CG something in there. Gotta save some money. Like I said, even though this had a pretty high budget, they're still on a budget, and I guess they couldn't really shoot and afford to send too many Mustangs through the air. I don't know why not. I think they could have done that for real. And it would have made that scene and to cap that whole scene off with something like real like that would have been like so much better. Yeah, there we go. We got Angelina Jolie just like crying for some reason. But so yeah, here we go. Like the car's back and it's running after. Yeah, I don't know why they made like it just go that far. Like it goes over like 4 or 5 cars, an ambulance, like all this shit. Makes it, sticks the landing. Tires don't pop, rims don't bend, engine doesn't just pop out of the hood. Springs, just everything's just all good. The windshield is still good. You just got like a bad bumper, and so here's Nicolas Cage kind of like just doing his thing. Nicolas, he knows that like gotta keep the energy up in this movie, so I gotta do my Nicolas Cage thing. Like that. Yes, indeedy. That's definitely. And when he does this, we make a deal. All right. This is like, and Kalitri just like done. And yeah, see, I think we could have used an extra scene between these two to make the threat of these guys a little greater and just make you like just remember it a little bit more instead of having the guy's name is Michael Pena. That's who our SA gangster was. Michael Pena. You know him from like Ant-Man and End of Watch, and he's in everything. He's definitely been in SA 1,000 times, but he's plays one in this, and definitely fresh baby face in this. Early Michael Pena. So this kind of sucks. They don't actually jump the car. They use a CG car, but then they use a real car and like crush it and show it being ruined for no reason. And then we see it getting crushed and demolished. Just a superficial car. Just a scrap metal. So, yeah, Will Patton, his character, I like how his character ends up here where, he's just doing this job. He's caught between his friend and like a really dangerous gangster. And then, he ends up doing the right thing and turning his back on his boss and helping out his buddy and risking his neck. And also, like, he's also kind of going against the wishes of Memphis because Memphis told him to watch his brother. And then his brother is like, come on, I want to go help Memphis, and so he's got to kind of go against Memphis's wishes, and you know, but he's doing it for all like the good. You know, he's doing the wrong thing to do the right thing. This movie explores those themes pretty well and successfully. They're like this. He's like just breaking the chair. Oh no! Like that's funny. And like you could see Calitri getting like genuinely like upset, like pissed off. Like not even like pissed off. He's like just like hurt. He's like, no, come on. It's funny. Again, in character, doesn't like he's not like too like, you know, he's not like crying over it, and it doesn't linger on it too long. It's just kind of a nice way for Nicolas Cage to get away, and then bang, we're off to the next orange and green setting here. Again, just standard 2000s action movie ending up in a like boiler junkyard house, boiler room, warehouse, junkyard. Just all the signature stuff here. Grates, metal grates, banisters, hanging off banisters. And got the cop on the tail. The bad guy on his tail. I don't believe he doesn't see a whole person just hanging underneath him there. That's kind of bullshit, but whatever. And then, yeah, I like the way like this ends up too. Like, so our cop, um, Delroy, what's his name? Castleback. He, you know, he ends up helping out Memphis, but also, again, he stays in character. He's doing it so he could, you know, because he owes him. You know, he owes him that favor because he saved his life, and so he's like, "You got me. I got you this time, but next time, you know, I'm coming after you," type of thing. And that's exactly who that character is. He's like, no fucks given, just no bullshit. So, and Memphis does the right thing. He saves his life and kills the bad guy. Bad guy falls into the coffin, his own coffin, just on the nose, but it's cool. And so yeah, they both look at the gun. Interesting how our main character doesn't carry a gun ever. I think at one point he grabs a gun, but we don't. There's not a lot of gunplay from our protagonist here. Again, he's not like, you know, Nicolas Cage plays it. He's not a gangster. He's not, you know, Steven Seagal, the ex-CIA guy. You know, he doesn't know jujitsu. It's not an assassin like John Wick. He's just kind of like, you know, a car thief. And so he's using what he, you know, knows best. The code of honor amongst thieves and men. I saved your life. You saved mine. Again, he's got to do the wrong thing to do the right thing. I like how like that's a theme, and it gets played very well, and all the characters end up following that thread very well. And this is very Fast and Furious here. This end scene here. I wonder what we could have done, like with maybe more of a, like if this comes out like 2 years after Fast and Furious, this is a very different movie. Yeah, we get Vinny Jones first speaking part here. He finally talks. He spits some knowledge. You say poor Toby. I say poor us. Angelina Jolie's got the braids again. The dreads, braids. I don't know what's going on. Giovanni Ribisi's cut the ridiculous goatee off his face, but he still has the crazy slick back hair. We get oh, here's your car back, but it's not the actual car. It's like a junker, which is cool. Which is a nice way to end it. Good way to cap off our movie here. And it's a like nice little way the brothers kind of end their relationship. And Giovanni Ribisi's not such a dick anymore. Everybody's all cool with each other. So yeah, it's like here we go. That's gone in 60 seconds. I mean, you got a good cast of characters. Like I said, everybody gets a moment. Movie knows what it is. Movie knows what the assignment is. Pulls it off. You know, like I said, I think we needed a little bit more money. Another action set piece here or there. Angelina Jolie, Nicolas Cage. Maybe could have done without their romance. But I think the movie does need it. I mean, it's a summer, movie. It needs, you know, it needs that. It's a date movie. If you're gonna bring a girlfriend, she's gotta be interested in something. And Nicolas Cage and a bunch of dudes just stealing cars is not gonna do it. So you need like something there. And if it's not like, if it's not a bunch of Paul Walkers, just dime pieces, just walking around in sleeveless shirts all day, your girlfriend's not gonna like it. So there's got to be, that kind of obligatory kind of love romance kind of connection. But they don't play on it too much, and I think it works. It works. It does. It's okay. It's not the best. Um, and yeah, the action at the end, um, is pretty good for what it is. For at the time. I think we've definitely seen better chase scenes since. I think this had the unfortunate thing, the timing of coming out. I think before Fast and Furious. So we get the chase scenes in those movies. We get the chase scene from the Bourne Identity movies. Those like really set a high bar. So yeah, this movie just had like that unfortunate timing of just kind of coming out, and then like we just had a lot of stuff coming out. I think Mission Impossible 2's motorcycle chase scene was like really, really good. Bad movie, good chase scene. And by this time, like your standard like car chase scene is kind of been done so many times back then that um, it kind of it needed a break. Yeah, I think the last like crazy good one was like Michael Bay, Bad Boys 2, or Matrix Reloaded, the freeway chase. Um, but that's when we get into like a little bit too much CGI, and when the cars are not doing the real stunts, and we're not seeing the real hits, and aftermath, it loses a little bit of its gravitas. And yeah, I think when we get later on, we do get back to like more practical chase scenes, and I think those are like the best. Those are the ones you remember. I can't tell you much of like what happens in the chase scenes in the Fast and Furious movies, other than like some of the more ridiculous parts. But yeah, I mean, I could tell you like how cool, like in Death Proof, it is the way those cars are just banging around each other on the highway with the stunt woman like just like on the roof of the car. Like it's just like, that's good stuff. I mean, yeah, that's good stunt work. But anyway, maybe that's a conversation for another time. So this is a long one. This is a commentary one, and thank you guys for listening. If you've listened to this long, if you listen this long, you're a trooper. If you listen to the whole thing, you're a real trooper. But I thank you again. Let me know in the comments what you want me to do next. If you want me to do more of these commentaries, what movies I can do. And yeah, like I said, we're building this channel. We're building everything up. And you guys are just coming along the ride with me. So let me know what I can do to make it better. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.